I'd like to welcome everybody to our March 20th Brigantine City Council meeting. Please rise for the flag salute. Standing while our Deputy Mayor Karen View leads us in prayer.
Heavenly Father, thank you for the change of seasons. As we leave behind a winter that wore out its welcome, we step into spring with a fresh heart, ready for nature to take its course. May this season bring joy and light, peace and prosperity, and a spirit in full bloom. Amen.
Lynn, can you read the Open Public Meeting Act announcement?
This is to advise the meeting notices covering this meeting have been sent and posted as required under the Open Public Meetings Act.
Tiger, I understand we have a executive session. What are the topics?
Yes, Mayor, litigation and personnel.
All right, so Lynn, can you read the executive session resolution?
Whereas the Open Public Meetings Act permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, and whereas the governing body wishes to discuss matters of litigation and personnel, minutes will be kept, and once the matter involving confidentiality, the above no longer requires that confidentiality, then the minutes can be made public. Now therefore be it resolved that the public be excluded from this meeting. This resolution shall take effect.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passed. Are we back? difficulties with the laptop. We'll get started.
Oh, wait. Oh, this is what we got to before though. Wait a minute. Didn't get to that part before.
Sorry, we have a new computer we're working with, so we had a couple technical difficulties there. All right, so we have a motion and second to return from executive session.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, seeing none, motion passed. Mike, can you give a update of executive? turn it over to our deputy mayor for a special presentation tonight.
And that counts against your 5 minutes. Oh, you get an extra 2 minutes tonight.
We need our approval of our March 6, 2024 council meeting minutes. We have a motion second. Questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
You,
Yes.
Lettieri?
Yes.
Haney?
Yes.
Ludwig?
Yes.
Neosnacker, Reardon?
Yes.
Mayor Sarah?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Need our approval of our payroll, requisition list, and operating expenses. We have a motion second.
Second.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
You,
Yes.
Lettieri?
Yes.
Haney?
Yes.
Ludwig?
Yes.
Reardon? Sarah?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next up, we have public comment. This is on agenda items only. Anybody wishing to be heard, please come up and state your name and address for the record. All right, seeing no public comments, we're going to close the public portion. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay. So the city manager is required by statute to deliver to the mayor and city council a budget document for the preparation of the annual municipal budget. This presentation of the city budget to the governing body commences the formal budget process under the controls of the mayor and city council. This open meeting allows for transparency of the process as well as an opportunity to report to the taxpayers and residents the manager's budget recommendations. The CFO, Al Stanley, received budget requests from each department head. We have reviewed each department's requests and worked together to prepare and collect the data for the budget document. We have worked with City Auditor Leon Costello to verify compliance with the state of New Jersey spending caps law, tax levy cap law, and other budget regulations. The city manager's proposed operating budgets are compliant with the tax levy cap law and the spending caps law. This budget document has been prepared in the format required by the Department of Community Affairs, Division of Local Government Services, and includes the city current fund budget and the water sewer utility. I am recommending this year, at the conclusion of my introduction of the manager's budget, that the mayor and council move to introduce the budget this evening as presented. The mayor and city council will have ample time to review the budget in detail prior to the public hearing and adoption anticipated on April 17th, at which time an amendment can be introduced if changes are necessary. This year is not a self-exam year for the city's budget. Since 1977, municipal budgets have been prepared in compliance with the spending cap law. In 2010, the tax levy cap law was established. The city manager's recommended budget is in compliance with both cap laws. As presented, the proposed 2024 current fund budget is approximately $915,000 under the 2% tax levy cap limit and approximately $1.58 million under the 3.5% spending cap. The manager's 2024 current fund budget, as presented here tonight, totals $34,747,248.17. The local purpose tax of $24,240,566.70 reflects an increase of $784,685.69 from the 2023 local purpose tax of $23,455,882 and results in a 1.54% increase in the tax rate from the previous year. The city's percentage of tax collections continue to be strong in 2024 at 99.41%. This budget reflects a conservative approach to the anticipation of revenues. As of December 31st, 2023, the unaudited fund balance stands at approximately $8.4 million, which is an increase of about $1.3 million over the 2023 available balance. The use of $3,425,000 in fund balance is $425,000 higher than the amount used in 2020. Total miscellaneous revenues without grants, state aid, and reserve for debt is projected to be approximately $4.9 million in the 2023 budget. The 2020. This amount represents a net decrease of $334,600 in miscellaneous revenues over the 2023 budget. While the city anticipates that revenues will remain strong in beach tag, 4x4 passes, construction permitting fees, and golf course revenues, the miscellaneous revenues continue to remain conservative and cautious in its projections for 2024. The city's state aid received was increased by $34,000 in 2024, with $902,681.47, only 3.9% of the city's entirety. Salaries and wages total $13,716,030. The total appropriations for salaries and wages in the current fund budget are $27,730 less than in 2023, or approximately less than 1% decrease, and includes required contractual commitments, anticipated increase in seasonal employees, and minimum wage. Other expenses total $8,214,483 and represents the OE from all departments along with insurance and utility costs, and reflects an increase of $482,064 from last year's budget. While the net effect is not substantial, there are ups and downs throughout many line items and departments. Statutory and deferred charges amount to $3,080,448.81, which represents an increase from 2023 in the amount of $411,262.07, mostly due to the rise in pension costs. Level debt service continues to be an important initiative of this administration. The 2024 municipal portion of debt is $4,210,037.50, which reflects an increase of approximately $409,268.88 from 2023. This increase is mostly due to the increase in the rate on short-term notes in 2023. Reserve for uncollected taxes is a calculation based upon the entire levy of the city, including county and school taxes. The calculation this year remains conservative and is based upon the current local purpose tax levy and an estimate of the school and county taxes, as well as the prior year collection rate. The 2024 increase is approximately $85,761.15. In summary, the manager's 2024 current fund budget as presented here tonight totals $34,747,000 and, $34,747,000, 248.17 cents. It represents a conservative approach to revenue projection and includes both the increases and decreases in the respective department budgets and other operating expenses. Based on the 2024 city assessed value, a penny on the tax rate equals $349,538. The proposed local purpose tax rate will increase 1.05 cents, with a 2024 rate of 69.3 cents per $100 assessed value. A property with an assessed value of $400,000 will pay approximately $2,774 in local tax. The 2024 tax rate is lower than the 2014 tax rate of 71.1 cents for a property of the same assessed value, which would have been $2,844 in local tax. The water sewer utility budget is supported by the billings and fees charged for the consumption of water by individual customers. Water sewer utility, as presented, has a proposed balanced budget for 2024 and maintains a self-liquidating status. As such, any capital bond ordinance approved will not require a 5% down payment. The 2024 water sewer utility budget totals $7,459,846.77 for a decrease of $33,411.17 over the 2024 budget. There is no proposed rate increase for the utility in 2024. The capital budget included in the 2024 budget is a 6-year plan for the city. This capital budget represents a total of potential capital improvements of approximately $26,100,000 over a 6-year period. The capital expenditures for 2024 are estimated to be $17.2 million. The water and sewer will require a significant investment over the next 6 years due to the aging of infrastructure and state mandated requirements. In closing, the city's budget in 2024 once again is managed in a professional and fiscally sound manner. This has been achieved through long-term budgeting and projections, maintaining proper allocation methods and sound financial records while providing the necessary reserves for future expenditures. Through a conservative approach to budgeting on revenues and limiting growth on discretionary expenditures, the city remains in sound financial position and has not relied on one-time revenues to balance this budget. The recommended budget allows the city to continue to provide the same services in 2024 as in the past. This budget also provides for a very stable future. As always, I am available to meet with Mayor and City Council to review the budget and provide any additional information necessary. I would like once again to thank the city employees and department heads for their service and dedication to the city of Brigantine and for their assistance in the budget preparation process. I continue to be thankful for their support as well as their ability to work together to continue to provide the level of service expected by our residents. Also, I would like to thank Al Stanley, the Finance Department, and the City Auditor, Leon Costello, for their help and input in the development of the City Manager's recommended budgets. As I stated at the beginning of this presentation, I now ask Mayor and Council to consider introducing this budget this evening, keeping in mind that any questions or concerns can be addressed from this point on and until the public hearing on April 17th. Should any changes be required, an amendment will be presented for approval.
Thank you. At this time, is there a motion and second to introduce the budget? So I guess, Lynn, do I have to say the whole thing? Introduction to 2024 municipal budget. Is that good enough? Or, okay, just making sure. One of the things I would encourage every member of council to receive the budget tonight, but everyone should set up appointments to meet with our CFO and meet with our city manager to go over the budget and make sure if you have any questions that you fully understand the document that you'll be voting on. The public hearing for this budget will be, I believe, on April 17th. Is that correct? So April 17th is the public hearing on this. Are there any questions or comments at this time from any of our council? One of the things just I want to add here, and Tiger touched on this a little bit, the city has approximately about $26 million in capital improvement projects planned for the city over the next 6 years. And I think that's something that's important. We need to make sure that we are reinvesting in our city. While we plan to continue improving our roads, our beaches, our recreational facilities, and public buildings, we'll be making significant investments in our water and sewer system. And this is due to the state mandates. So we're in the beginning processes of that now, but a lot of the money that we have here is going to be reinvested back into our community. And I think one of the other important highlights to take away from this, Tiger said this, but I want to highlight it again, is that the 2024 tax rate is still lower than where it was in 2014. So for more than a decade, we have kept that tax rate under control. And I don't know if there's any other municipality in the state of New Jersey who can say that. And I think a lot of the thanks for that goes to our strong financial team. Leon, I want to thank you, Al, Tiger, and also I want to thank Ryan, who I know is working very hard on this. We have a fantastic team who really helps us get a lot of stuff done and keeps our expenses under control. Make sure you guys take time to meet with the manager and to meet with our CFO to go over this. If there's no other questions or comments, can we have roll call?
You,
Yes.
Lettieri,
Yes.
Hany,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Reardon,
Yes.
Mayor Sarah,
Yes.
motion carried.
I'll see you. Thank you, Leon. Next up, we have ordinance number 3 of 2024. Originally, we had planned a public hearing, but we're going to be reintroducing. So we have a small change. So can we have a motion and second to amend ordinance number 3 of 2024 to amend chapter 234 of the code of the city of Brigantine entitled parking lots to update the parking regulations in the city parking lots for permit parking. Motion second.
So moved.
Tiger, can you go over the changes?
Yeah, Mayor. Absolutely. When this was first introduced, there was I guess, I don't want to say a typo, but the way it was written, I missed it at first reading, that would have required anybody who bought a daily pass using the Park Mobile system that we're going to, had they, as an example, had they gone to the beach at Roosevelt and bought a daily pass, and then in the afternoon they wanted to go to 16th Street, the way it was written, they would have had to pay again for another daily pass because 16th Street would have been a different zone. And it actually wasn't caught until today when we were looking at it closely when we were on a conference call, when people meet with Park Mobile. And then I realized that the language, that was not the intent of us going to this system. So we wanted to correct it. So now it's crystal clear that daily parking is good in any of our beach municipal lots during the summer. So that's what we changed.
Any questions or comments by council? All right, seeing none, can we have roll call?
You,
Yes.
Lettieri,
Yes.
Hany,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Reardon,
Yes.
Mayor Sarah,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, ordinance number 4 of 2024. This is a public hearing and adoption, and this is an ordinance to amend chapter 105 of the code of the city of Brigantine entitled Beaches. Entitled Beaches and Recreation Areas to update regulations for ice cream permits. We have a motion and second. Anybody wishing to be heard on this ordinance, please come up, state your name and address for the record. All right, seeing no public participation, are there any council comments? All right, seeing none, can we have roll call?
You,
Yes.
Lettieri,
Yes.
Hany,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Reardon,
Yes.
Mayor Sarah,
Yes.
motion carried.
Ordinance number 5 of 2024, and this is an introduction, and this is an ordinance amending chapter 210-37, article 2 of the code of the city of Brigantine portion as it relates to fees. We have a motion and second. Big part of this is I'd really like to thank our city manager, Tiger Platt. I know he went through and actually cleaned this ordinance up put it all in alphabetical order, simplified it, and made it a lot easier. So I want to thank you for that. I know that took a lot of work, but it is much easier to follow and understand. And it now references the appropriate, I guess, sections of the city code when it comes to different ordinances. So this way, when we change things, it's one-stop shop. So thank you very much. Are there any questions or comments from council? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
You? Yes. Lettieri?
Yes.
Haney?
Yes.
DeLucre?
Yes.
Reardon?
Yes.
Mayor Sarah?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Ordinance number 6 of 2024. This is an introduction. This is an ordinance to amend chapter 260 of the code of the city of Brigantine entitled Streets and Sidewalks to add an article 2, revocable license agreements for encroachments. We have a motion and second. I think the big process with this is we're looking to, I guess, formalize this process on the city side. There is a process when it comes to the planning board side. We looked at some of the other municipalities that allow this. We want to make sure that we had a process, so this way we're fair and consistent. There's also some costs that are associated with this. We want to make sure that if we're doing a revocable license for someone, that they cover the cost of what it will cost the city for us to process, do what we need to do here. Any questions or comments from council? All right, seeing none, can we have roll call?
You?
Yes.
Lettieri?
Yes.
Haney?
Yes.
DeLucre?
Yes.
Reardon?
Yes.
Mayor Sarah?
Yes.
Motion carried.
We have resolution 2024-54, and this is a resolution opposing the state of New Jersey new proposed shore protection rules and NJ PAC regulations. In motion second. All right, so just to give people a little bit of background on this, right now the DEP is putting restrictions in to restrict access to tidal waterways and adjacent shorelines. The city has some major concerns that the DEP's proposed rules would expand seasonal closures of beaches, tidal waterways, and beach entrances during the high season of our shore town community. One of the things that we're very concerned about is that the regulations they put in place is a violation of the public trust doctrine that grants public access to all of these areas. And it's one of the things that the state has based all of its access rules and regulations on. So we don't understand how they have the authority to violate their own rules. So we're kind of bringing this out. One of the things they're concerned about, and I guess when it comes to the protection of animals and wildlife, they talk about potential injurious uses. And some of those injurious uses, they have pictures of footsteps on the beach, people walking along the shoreline, shoreline access to boats, accessing the beach with unleashed dogs. I know that people like to walk their dogs out on the beach, so we have some serious concerns about what the DEP is doing and why that they would want to shut down our beaches and waterways to activity that people do all of the time. We're also concerned that if these closures happen during the summer season, that it could have adverse impacts on our local economy. One of the things we're very concerned about is that there's no legislation that has authorized the DEP to require more stringent requirements and restrictions on public lands. And this has been one of the objections that at least I've had and many members of this council is that the DEP, especially through the PAC regulations, is regulating things and circumventing the legislative process. And one of the things that we're requesting to ensure fairness and maximum public acceptance is that these regulations go through the process and that our state representatives have an opportunity to weigh in on these, that the DEP can't just unilaterally pass regulations that it probably does not have the authority to do so. So this would call this to their attention, that it's a violation of their own laws. It could be damaging to the shore communities. We also want to make sure that there's a balance. We understand that there needs to be a protection of wildlife, protection of animals. We will do everything in our process to do that, but I think the DEP needs some oversight before they take a step forward. Are there any questions or comments from council?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. I was looking, I don't we don't have the text of the, what's being called the proposed new rules. Has anybody seen the text of this proposal?
I don't have the full text, but
Because I went on the DEP website and the portion where they have a listing of proposed adopted rules, I couldn't find it. The only reference I saw was to a 6-month-old webinar about the proposed rules. So if we're concerned about a proposed rule, shouldn't it actually be proposed? Something. Maybe there's talk about something, but how do we vote on a thing when we are concerned about possible impacts when we don't have text of what the thing is to determine what it is that it might empower DEP to do, whether or not in what ways it changes the existing regulations. I mean, the process normally is that the legislature passes a law, and if it's one that's within the proper jurisdiction of one of the state departments, they authorize that department to adopt rules to implement whatever the legislature passed. And that's what has happened with our existing public access rules. And the process for DEP to change those wouldn't actually involve the legislature. The legislature could certainly change the law at any time, but the process for DEP would be that there would be a proposed rule, and then there would be an actual formal process that gets followed, and the proposal gets published in the New Jersey Register, and there's an opportunity for public input, possible hearings, and so on and so forth. And eventually, you have adoption. At adoption, you know, people are unhappy. What exactly is the regulation that we are supposed to be responding to?
so this comes from a DEP meeting presentation they did on September 9th, 2023, where they outlined the new proposed rules that are referenced here. And obviously they haven't taken effect yet, but they gave the impression at this meeting that they intend to move forward with this. And this has been one of the issues with some of the PAC regulations that we've been dealing with. I want to say going on 4 years now with the DEP, where I'm going to go into the PAC. They want to come up with a series of rules that they want everybody to agree to before they've actually told everybody what the rules are. And that's something we've had an issue with. And I believe that this also falls in line with this. So this is part of that presentation. So I don't think that they have put it in place yet, but I think it's important for them to understand that what they are proposing does violate the public trust doctrine, and that they should really consider that and make sure that it goes through the legislative process.
Okay,
With
fine.
the PAC regulations, I believe that they intend to pass those regulations without going through the proper channels of the state legislature.
Okay, I'm not going to take everybody's time to get into a long debate about rulemaking. That's not how it works. If the DEP is proposing a rule, it's common for them, for a lot of state departments, to first, introduce what it is they're looking at, thinking about doing to potential stakeholders and interested parties. And that's what happened in September of last year. But what has to happen after that for the planning board is they have to then actually have a formal rule proposal, all of which is done publicly. Notification requirements, there's hearing requirements, there's input opportunities for public comment. And I can't find any record that any of that has happened with regard to this. The proposal does have a special meaning. So, if they haven't done anything with it, maybe they haven't, I just couldn't find it, but nobody else seems to have seen the text of it. And it would be a very specific, exact text of a proposal, if in fact one was forward. Then evaluate whether, with respect to examples of public access, is it something that could potentially prevent public access in circumstances that could affect the ability of police or fire to respond to emergencies, or which could lead to closures of beaches in circumstances where they couldn't presently be closed. There are circumstances where if there was any environmental system of magnitude, the power already exists, the police power to limit or even close access for a period of time to address that. But that doesn't seem like what we're talking about here. This is being presented, and I noticed this is identical to the text of our resolution to that which was passed in Ocean City the other night. So I assume this was provided to us in Ocean City and to a number of other municipalities with the request that everybody get on board and pass this, which, on its merits, whatever the merits might turn to be, maybe that's a worthwhile thing for right now. exactly as if it were opposed to. An idea that was talked about 6 months ago, but which has not actually worked. So, I don't understand how we do that.
I think one of the concerns, because you brought up public safety departments, but based on what was proposed, it would restrict access of public safety, which would be police, fire, beach patrol. So when the DEP closes down an area, we see that now, like just say like the pool are set up out there, that area at the beach would be closed down to all of it. My understanding is this would extend that restrictions that our public safety personnel wouldn't be able to go in that area either. Unfortunately, if you're dealing with situations where, especially with the ocean, where people drown, can't respond to it appropriately. And I understand your point. You're saying it hasn't gone anywhere. I also look at, and I'm going to come back to the PAC regulations too. If us and 19 other municipalities hadn't been holdouts, hadn't been fighting this, I believe that those just passed. So I'm concerned that there's a proposal out there that could potentially harm the city, harm our public safety personnel's ability to do their job. And I think that it would be important for us as a governing body to share our concerns. So if there's amendments or if there's changes, they would understand that we had concerns with what has been proposed, and maybe before the regulations move forward, that it could change that, and there could be changes to the proposal before it gets to the point of going through the whole process. I find typically, by the time the state gets to the point of holding public meetings and moving things forward, they've already made up their mind, and it's kind of hard to change them. But I do respect where you're coming from.
I'd like to agree with the mayor, Rick. I don't see a problem with us having a resolution that disagrees with the proposal from the state. We have lots of plans, laws, and regulations in place already. When something happens on the beach, I mean, I was up on the north end when the whale washed up that died from the sonar radar, from the geo mapping and all that. So we have a lot of things in place that we already use, and I just think it's overreach by DEP, duplication of what we already have. So,
Like, the point still is, what is the overreach? There is nothing being done by DEP. There is no proposal out there. There was at most discussions involving, I don't know who, 6 months or more ago, which have not generated anything. So this is like we could have a resolution or 10 resolutions at every meeting saying, hey, government in New Jersey, don't do the following things which would be damaging to us, even though no one's proposing to do those things. Well, so, whereas kind of the cart is way before the horse, and I'm not even sure if there's a horse.
It does say there's a new I mean,
yeah.
you first mentioned that, I see where you're coming from. I thought it was earlier today, but I looked at it a little bit more in detail, where it speaks of the dangerous uses and the prior paragraph where it says a stakeholder presentation on September 19th that outlined the new proposed rule. The very last paragraph, like 3.
Don't actually have in the rulemaking process, but no, it's like, well, it's, look, again, I'm not gonna, I'm voting on this, that part's not the question, but for the rest of us, if there is something out there, our first step ought to be, let's nail it down. What is it that, if there's something I missed that I didn't see on the website, or that, other people who have been involved in this, maybe Ocean City or other places that have adopted a similar resolution, find out if there is in fact the text of something floating around out there, which the EP is looking at and considering, whether or not it's even made it to the point yet of being a formal legal proposal. And then we have a much clearer idea of what exactly it is that rule would allow them to do. And then we could certainly better evaluate, is there something in there that could impact our interest? I mean, we could have a resolution all the time, which says, hey, DEP, don't do anything which is going to impede the ability of our police, fire, and lifeguards to protect human life. Of course. But if nobody is proposing that, why are we bothering the resolution? Yeah, there was
There's a
a
proposal.
meeting involving somebody and somebody said it.
And you did mention possibly maybe putting the cart before the horse. However, at the same time, I think it's best just to view something before it becomes a problem, before it comes to the line, just to make the resolution and say, this, we're aware of this right now. It needs to be addressed. Legislative oversight to that end.
I'm going to disagree with the grand marshal.
I guess I'm sensing a readiness to vote. If there's no final comments, we have roll call.
You? Yes, I see no harm in being proactive. Wait, be reactive after they down these regulations. So I'm voting yes.
Lettieri? Amy?
Well said, Karen. Go ahead. Yes.
Delivery?
No.
Reardon?
Yes.
Mayor Sarah?
I think it's important for us to be proactive. The DEP did do a formal presentation on this, and if they presented it, I think it's fair game. I know that there's a number of things that come up all the time that we pass resolutions on, but we don't. We pass them when they're important. I think what's being proposed, even if it hasn't been fully formalized, is a violation of the public trust doctrine. I think right now there's an opportunity to make a statement so that the DEP goes back and potentially reviews what their proposal is. And also we are asking for the legislature to use their authority to make sure that this process goes through them so that all of our voices are heard. So I vote yes. Resolution 2024-55. This is a resolution authorizing the execution of a settlement and general release between the city and ASME Local 63. Motion second. Questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
You?
Yes.
Lettieri? Amy?
Yes.
Delivery?
Yes.
Reardon?
Yes.
Mayor Sarah?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Resolution 2024-56. And this is a PBA roadway solicitation application. We have a motion second. Questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
You?
Yes.
Lettieri?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Delivery?
Yes.
Reardon?
Yes.
Mayor Sarah?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Resolution 2024-57. This is a resolution by the city of Brigantine, New Jersey, authorizing the purchase of a Chevy Tahoe vehicle under state contract 21 fleet -01483 from Hydric Fleet Services Incorporated. This is a vehicle for the fire department, and it's in the amount of $50,271.92. We have a motion second.
I'll make that motion.
Any questions or comments?
Sorry, did somebody say?
Yeah, who seconded it? Mike seconded it. Speaking to the microphone.
Yes.
Thank you, Michael.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
You?
Yes.
Lettieri?
Yes.
Amy?
Yes.
Delivery?
Yes.
Reardon?
Yes.
Mayor Sarah?
Oh, no, Chief, you need this? Then I vote yes. Chief needs it.
Motion
Yes.
carried.
Next up, we have our consent agenda. We have a Lions Club car show request, baseball and softball association parade request, and soccer event request. We have a motion second.
I'll make that.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
You?
Yes.
Lettieri?
Yes.
Haney?
Yes.
Delivery?
Yes.
Reardon?
Yes.
Mayor Sarah?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next up, we have our council manager committee discussions. Tiger, anything for us?
Nothing to add.
Yeah,
Got enough to say tonight.
in regards to our department heads, reports. Deputy Mayor
Wait,
Karen
wait,
Field.
whoa, whoa.
Oh, sorry, John. Deputy Mayor Karen Field.
I'd also like to congratulate the Chamber of Commerce and our own Mike Reardon for hosting our fantastic 2-week St. Patty's Day celebration. It was the best parade Brigantine has ever had. It was amazing to see how many people were lining the street all the way down. I'd like to say thanks to Chief Casamento's officers, Acting Captain Steve Ward and Lieutenant Jack Lasser for presenting a very informative session on elder financial fraud and scams yesterday at the community center. It is really scary hearing how close to home these criminal activities actually are. We had a great turnout. There were about 45 seniors there. It was just a great event. I'd also like to thank Linda Nace and her staff and Jim Mogan and Kristen Sullivan for making this happen. And thanks to Neil and Mike who showed up for your support. Also, I'd like to recognize the Garden Club for their beautiful garden beds. Spring daffodils and hyacinths really are blooming beautifully. Hopefully this weather coming this weekend is above.
So I'll turn it over to Paul.
Chamber. His thought. I think sometimes had by all.
Dennis.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to piggyback on those remarks too. John, you said, but everybody else has said here on council, what a great time, what a beautiful day. The weather was great. Crowds, families, all the way up the avenue. Businesses were packed. I mean, just a real, not that it, well, it's just good to give our business community a shot in the arm whenever we can. It's a great warm-up event, if you will, for the summer. Before you know, Memorial Day will be here. But what a festive day it was. Already, our town has got steadily on the map more and more over the years. But Mike, you outdid yourself, man. It was really a heck of a job. And everybody else involved: the police, fire, public works, John, chief. Great job, everybody helping out and just making it out. So, yeah, it was just a brief little talk, kind of jabbing each other, kidding around a little bit with the Tahoe, you know. But I'll tell you what, it's very important to keep those vehicles rotated and safe. I know myself from. He's not here today, but anybody who's involved in any type of public operation, myself, it was law enforcement, in my case, those vehicles can get really beat up. And before you know, they get a lot of miles put on them every year, wear and tear, and it's just good to add to the safety of the community. Where you got to get to, you got to get there in a hurry, you got to get there safely, as quickly as you can. Boys and girls of summer coming up, baseball and softball, kind of winding down. I told Mike when I came in there, Karen, I got the green tie, but it's kind of like winding down from St. Patty's Day. What a fun time it was. But everybody, I see some of the kids out there already playing, boys and the girls, and good time here. It's always a special place in my heart. Baseball season got going. So, best of luck to all the teams. Have a great time. As little interest as possible.
join everybody in congratulating and thanking all the persons responsible for the parade, including beloved my parade. And after the parade, all anybody seemed to talk about, at least the people I was talking to, was how can we get Dennis Haney to be Grand Marshal for life? Well, most of it was Dennis actually saying that to me.
Down to our parade champion.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. Well, I appreciate all the comments, certainly about the parade, but it certainly couldn't have done without everyone else. Teamwork was unbelievable. John Dorn, Public Works, Chief of Police, the finest and bravest out there showing themselves and helping us out is just fabulous. And of course, all the support from the city manager, the rest of council. I just wanted to say, Dennis, that you've been voted the most animated, passionate, giving Grand Marshal in the history of the parade. So congratulations, Dennis. No, just the amount of local businesses and clubs and all that got involved. The Chamber of Commerce was just amazing. The way they've expanded this and built on and Shake the Shamrock. So we look forward to having some more fun in the future. So work on Columbus Day Parade next. It's that. But other than that, we have the Cultural Arts Committee. They had a great talk a few weeks ago about the birds, local birds, Western Territory. That was fabulous, well attended. And speaking of Cultural Arts Commission, if I may, I'd like to make a motion to add Mariette Finestri and Franny Streeper to the Cultural Arts Commission. So if I can get a second and vote on that.
Second, all right, Karen, seconds. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, seeing none, motion passed.
All right, thanks. And then, other than that, we have the Economic Development Committee. This parade and everything we do in the shoulder season is for the businesses. So it helps economic development besides all the building and everything else is going on. I mean, that's budget over the last 10 years. The tax rate is as low now as it was in 2014. In the meantime, everybody's house has gone up hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's a credit to us. That's not bad. Other than that, any issues, any troubles, you know where to find me. Rick, would you help me out? The front. All right, thanks. Right.
So, Mike, I want to thank you for an outstanding job. Great. I think one of the best in the history of Brigantine. So very, very proud. Great partnership with the Chamber of Commerce. And I think one of the initiatives of both the Chamber and the Economic Development Committee, which Mike's the chairman is to build our shoulder season. This was a great kickoff event for the shoulder season and really the summer tourism season. Island was packed, people were here, but it had a great time. Great support from Public Works, police, fire department, just really across the board. We really pulled together. Fantastic event. Mike, I got so many compliments about how well the parade ran, how much fun people had, and what a fantastic Grand Marshal Dennis Haney was.
Yeah.
People sent me lots of pictures. They said you were outstanding. So great representation of the city, and we do a lot of good work here, and I'm very, very proud of the work that everyone does. You, to the chamber, thank you guys very much, and for all of our employees. Thank you for all you do for our city. Quick update too on the Cove Beach erosion. As you know, Brigantine's been hit, as well as a lot of shore communities been hit with a lot of winter storms this year, probably the worst that we've seen. Haven't had major storms, but it's the consistency and persistence of the storms, as well as they've been coming in from a southern direction. Normally you get hit with northeasters. These have been coming in from the south, so we're not used to getting hit from the side. We've had a lot of erosion down on the Cove Beach. One of the things I'm going to say is that probably if you're someone who buys a 4x4 pass for the Cove Beach, I would really consider it this year. I'd say half to maybe 2/3 of that beach has been eroded and gone. One of the things that our beach fee office is doing is making sure that if people buy a 4x4 permit, there's notices there letting people know, people are signing off on their paperwork. They understand that there might be limited access and closures. The police may have to shut that down when it gets crowded. And I anticipate that it'll get crowded quick on the weekends. So I want to make sure that people know. With the help of Congressman Van Drew, the city was able to set up a meeting and talk with the Army Corps of Engineers. This occurred last week, and we wanted to see how the Army Corps could help the city properly address this issue. The Army Corps' response for an immediate short-term solution was to put sandbags out there. So they want to stack up sandbags. My understanding is when they have other flooding events, they use sandbags as an immediate rapid response. One of the issues that a number of the homeowners are having is that even on a normal high tide, the waves are rolling down along the top of the jetty and into people's backyards during storms. It's even worse than that. So the Army Corps, we showed them pictures and videos that were shared with us by people who live in that area so they can get a picture of not just what the aerial erosion looks like, but also with what the homeowners are dealing with on an almost daily basis now, if not many times throughout the week. Although the suggestion seems very overly simplified to have sandbags, the Army Corps said that that is an action that the city can take right away. When they talk about some of the longer term solutions, they said in order to do this, there's required to have studies, design plans, and permitting before anything more that can be done. So one of the first things they want to do is study it. I would tell you government loves to study things. They want to study the issue. They want to take a look at it so they can make a determination of one, why it's happening and what the best way is to address it. So, and I know that's frustrating for a lot of the homeowners down there because obviously if the waves are breaking in your backyard, you want an immediate response. The city asked the Army Corps to provide a coastal engineer to help us determine the best possible layout placement of where those sandbags would be. The Army Corps said that they would be able to assist us with that. The Army Corps let us know because we asked about, timelines for long-range solutions. They said the long-range solutions, by the time you go through the studies, the permits, and the engineering, could be anywhere from 3 to 5 years. So again, our heart goes out to all of the people who live down in that area because that is not a number you want to hear. The city of Brigantine is going to do everything we can to expedite that process. I know Congressman Van Drew is going to do everything within his power to expedite that process. We let them know that this situation for us is verging on emerging. Right now we have the jetty down there. We had Dr. Sue Farrow come in. He believes that this happens to all jetties, that the jetty has had some settling. It's supposed to be at elevation 8. He has not formally studied it, but based on his observations, he believes it's probably at about elevation 7 right now. The Army Corps said that they would take a look at that. So we're going to speed this process along, do everything we can in our power and stay on top of it. We'll keep people posted as we gain more information, but I wanted to give everybody an update of where we are. I know the Brigantine Times is also going to be running a story this week, so that way people who aren't here at the meeting have an opportunity to read that in the newspaper. So just wanted to share that. At this time, we're going to open the meeting up to public comments. Anybody wishing to be heard, please come up, state your name and address for the record. Yes, Mr. Phillips.
NH Phillips, 308 27th Street. At a recent meeting, Mayor, I believe you mentioned court date or some legal date concerning an action that the city is involved in regarding the offshore wind turbines. So, am I correct? That there,
Yeah, so there was a court date on March 12th where we presented, I say we, but the attorney presented the arguments. I do not believe the judge has made a decision on that, but I do need to follow up and get an update. I just haven't had a chance to follow up with the attorney yet.
okay, what court? Who's the judge?
Don't know the judge and apologize. I don't want to say the wrong court. I just don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, exactly what was the purpose of this?
So it was a challenge to the simple version. It's a challenge to the BPU that the BPO was not unbiased in their decisions and pointing out the bureaucracy or the unbiasedness of the BPU and asking that the decisions when it comes to ocean wind projects be moved to an independent body.
Okay, well, you saw with the article in the this week's Times concerning the BPU and
did,
the
there-
action of the then Brigantine Beach and so on.
There are several lawsuits filed. And everybody's doing everything within their power to basically stop this.
And I believe if I read it correctly, Atlantic Shores is planning a project just about 8 to 9 miles offshore.
Well, that is the project that we've been dealing with here. It's one of the closest wind farms. in the-
Yes.
Yeah,
We continue the fight.
we will.
Secondly, the short-term rental. Any action on that? You said last week that those positions haven't been filled because there is some legal action.
We have a personnel issue that we're dealing with right now. Once that issue is resolved, we'll be able to move forward. But until that issue is resolved, we're not able to.
Okay, I would like to comment on something that the city manager said, not during the meeting, but after the meeting. When I asked if he still believed or believed in the statement that we don't have resort houses in Brigantine. And basically, his answer was he's sticking with that statement based on a technicality. And I can't ask him directly, but I'm going to ask you, what would that technicality be?
Probably a better question for our attorney. He's not here right now, but I can have him reach out to you. I don't want to get into a legal discussion over definitions. And I believe, Michael, who was here tonight, is one of the key people to help draft this. But I could have maybe Tiger have him reach out to you and he could probably explain it better than any of us.
Okay, but at the next meeting, have an explanation or a statement.
I believe Tiger,
the
you
public.
have Mrs. Phillips' phone number.
No, you don't call me. I just think it should come up at the next council meeting. So the public, this is a public question and deserves a public answer. So that's what I'm requesting. So at this point, we're still on hold in terms of appointing people to those 2 new positions.
So we're moving everything in the process forward. It's just finalizing the personnel for that area. We're on hold with that, but the SDL program, which is the digital side of it, I believe is scheduled to roll out April 1st. Yeah, so we're forward with all of our training. That's almost completed. We're rolling the program out through the city. So this will give the people, the ability to file their complaints digitally. We'll be able to track things better. So that's moving forward. The updates to the paperwork and all that stuff is moving forward. And I believe that people who get the licenses have been notified by the city of the changes that are moving forward. So everything's moving forward. We're just waiting on this one piece.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And if I can, real quick, I just looked up in our code, the definition of a resort house, and this is maybe why City Manager Platt stated we don't have a resort house in the island, because in our code, it's defined as a residentially styled structure that is used, maintained, marketed, promoted, or advertised as a destination location available for rent, lease, or sublease for gathering of invited guests, but not limited to weddings, retreats, family reunions. A resort house is a commercial use appropriate only in areas zoned for hotel and motel and a few other things. But you can see by that, just the definition, part of the definition I read, that we don't have any resort houses. Right.
There's no other public comment. I will close the public portion. Any final council comments? All right,
Mrs. Phillips, have a wonderful birthday.
Happy birthday.
happy birthday, Ms. Phillips.
Happy Easter. Happy Passover to everybody.
All right, can we have a motion and second to adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, seeing none, motion passed. Thank you for joining us tonight and watching your council team at work. Enjoy.